Why do you want to do business with a poor man, a poor partner? How much will he buy from you? Why don't we want all our partners to be prosperous so that we can do better business? Business is production and consumption. If you produce and nobody buys, there will be no business. So it is very important for all of us to understand this dynamic of business has two sides, production and consumption. In Europe, when there was changes in Europe, after Adam Smith helped Europe to understand the efficiency of the private sector, in his book of 1776, The Source of the Wealth of Nations, there was rapid growth of industries, but consumption remained stagnant. And in 1929, the capitalist system collapsed. Why? Demand. You cannot talk of business if you don't talk of the purchasing power of all your partners. If you look at the GDP of Africa now, I think it is like maybe 4 trillion now, but this is too small. If the GDP per capita of Africa was about 20,000, given that we are now 1.5 billion people here in Africa, you'd be talking of a GDP of 30 trillion. Why should Africa have a GDP of about 4 trillion now, when we are 1.5 billion? If the GDP per capita went to about 20,000, you can see, I think we would go to about 30 trillion. If it goes to 25,000, we would go maybe to 45 trillion. And our partners would benefit because we would buy more from them. So therefore, I salute the non-aligned movement. Our elders who started it did us a great service because they achieved a number of things. Number one, neutrality. At that time, there was a conflict between the socialist camp and the capitalist camp. And our elders said, no, for us we want to be neutral. We don't want to take sides. We want to judge issues on merit. And it helped us. And now, it is even more important. Because I can see there is a lot of intoxication. There is a lot of intoxication with the wrong ideas in the world. The ambitions of hegemonism will not work. If there is anybody who thinks he should control the world, is wasting his time. How do I know this? The Pope in the Middle Ages tried to control Europe. The Pope, using Christianity, he tried to control Europe. It caused a lot of problems. There was what they called the 30 Years' War in Europe. When one of the kings of Europe, of England, wanted to become a Protestant, but the Pope would not allow anybody to change from Catholicism. You know how much chaos that caused. And in the end, the Pope failed. If you go to Europe now, to Rome now, the Pope is just in a small area called the Vatican. And yet he wanted to control the whole of Europe at that time. It can't work. Now, when capitalism came up, and I don't know why I would like to get time and talk to the Europeans, like I'm talking with you now, because the examples are very clear. When capitalism came up in France, the French Revolution, the capitalists took power in France, and they overthrew feudalism there. There was the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It had a leader called Metternich. Metternich now decided to go and defeat capitalism, to stop the emergence of the capitalist ideas. He failed and ended up by destroying Austria-Hungary. You ask anybody, where is Austria-Hungary now? It disappeared because it wanted to stop evolution of history, which is not possible. So therefore, we should concentrate on the minimum common interests in the world. This is my humble advice. I'm speaking to you as a third generation anti-colonial fighter from Africa. I came as the third generation of the 1960s, following our elders like Mandela and Nyerere and others of the 1940s, and the ones of 1912 who founded the ANC in South Africa. These were our grandfathers. So my advice to people in the world is that let's concentrate on minimum mutually beneficial interests. And these are trade, investments, tourism, and mutual support in any other area. Then where we don't agree, where we have got divergences, those are internal issues. And this is where my Christianity comes in. In the Christian religion, there is a portion which says, let your light so shine before men that they see your good deeds and praise your Father who is in heaven. In other words, if you think you are right, you do things properly in your own country, then people will come and see, this is a good example, and they will change. But not by coercion, not by fights, not by, because it will not work, it has failed. I've quoted for you the Pope, I've quoted for you Metternich. Of course, I don't want to talk about the ones who tried to colonize us here, how it all ended up badly for them. Therefore, the issue of social systems should be for each country to decide which social system do you want. It's up to them to decide. But let's concentrate on the minimum common interest. Finally, let me salute our founders. I don't know whether the young generation knows them. And these were Nehru of India, Sukarno of Indonesia, Tito of Yugoslavia, Nasser of Egypt, Zhou Enlai of China was there in that meeting in Bandung. Then others joined later, like Mwalimu Nyerere, Kenneth Kaunda, Modibo Keita, and others. We salute those people. They gave us a good beginning. In my written speech, I go into the details of what the spokesperson of the African Union was talking about. But I'm very happy when I look around, see all of us together, I can see we may be the hope of the world. We people who are here, we will be the hope of the world. And I thank you for coming here, and I wish you good luck. Thank you so much.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going for a family group photo for strictly heads of delegations. We'll leave the room in an orderly fashion. Protocol will escort us outside on the stairs where the photo will be taken.
So we can meet outside there. Okay, I'm done.
The rest of us can proceed for lunch.
President Yoweri Museveni has officially opened the 19th midterm ministerial assessment of the 19th NAM summit. For those who have actually been following the story, you do remember that we did host in January 2024, where about 121 member states were supposed to be part of this summit. But of those, about 90 of them were part of this summit, and of those, we had about 30 heads of state. I'm talking about the summit that was held here last year in January. So today, the leaders have actually been assessing what has been so far achieved, talking about a number of issues. But of course, President Museveni has been echoing on a number of issues that African countries should be putting their focus